Before the world opens its eyes, before the noise, the notifications, and the demands of the day, there is a sacred moment. A moment that can either slip by unnoticed or become the most powerful turning point of your life. Right here, in the silence of the morning, lies a door. Most people walk past it. They rush into their routines, carrying yesterday's doubts, worries, and stories. But a few, the ones who rise to a different frequency, pause, breathe, and step through. This is the hour when the mind is still malleable, when your thoughts are purest, when your subconscious listens closely. The world has not spoken yet. Only you have the power to decide what energy you bring into existence. Every emotion you choose now becomes the foundation of your day. Gratitude is not a fluffy concept, it is a frequency. A state of being that has the power to rewire the brain, shift your emotional baseline, and tune your energy toward abundance. When you wake up and immediately reach for your phone, you are handing over the pen that writes your story to the world. But when you sit in silence and focus your heart on what already exists in your life, no matter how small, you reclaim authorship. You shift from reaction to creation. Gratitude pulls your attention away from what is missing and locks it onto what is present. And in doing so, it changes your physiology. Your heart rhythm begins to synchronize. Your stress hormones drop. Your immune system strengthens. Your nervous system enters a state of coherence. Science has proven that when you feel genuine gratitude, your brain releases dopamine and serotonin, natural mood elevators. This isn't just mindset work. This is inner alchemy. Close your eyes. Inhale slowly. Exhale even slower. Feel the weight of your body grounded to the earth. Let your mind bring up one simple thing you often overlook. A quiet morning. A roof over your head. The ability to breathe deeply. It doesn't have to be grand, it just has to be real. As you focus on that single element, don't just think about it, feel it. Let that emotion expand in your chest until it radiates outward. Gratitude felt deeply begins to shift your electromagnetic field. It is as if you are tuning your entire being like an instrument. And in this frequency, something extraordinary happens. Your brain stops scanning for threats and starts scanning for possibilities. Opportunities you once overlooked suddenly reveal themselves. You are no longer a victim of your circumstances, you become a conscious architect of your reality. This is why the first few minutes after waking are sacred. Your brain moves from the dream state into a highly suggestible state like soft clay. Every thought you impress in this moment is like a seed planted in the fertile soil of your subconscious. Most people plant weeds, fear, lack, anxiety. But today, you plant gratitude. You see, gratitude isn't about pretending everything is perfect. It's about acknowledging the gifts that already exist, even while striving for more. When you practice this consistently, your outer world begins to mirror your inner frequency. Imagine your life as a movie screen. What you project inward is what gets displayed outward. Gratitude adjusts the lens. It sharpens the picture, brightens the colors, and rewrites the narrative. This is where transformation begins, not in massive external actions, but in silent internal choices. Right here, before the sun fully rises, you choose alignment. You choose intention. You choose to anchor yourself in the one emotion that has the power to rewrite neural pathways, shift timelines, and elevate consciousness. Gratitude. This isn't a one-time ritual. This is a practice, a discipline, a way of living. Because the person who starts their day in gratitude isn't just reacting to life, they are sculpting it. As you breathe, imagine waves of gratitude flowing through every cell. Picture your heart expanding like a sunrise, flooding your being with light. Let your mind whisper, "Thank you," for the smallest things, for the unforeseen blessings, for the opportunities ahead. In this moment, you are no longer chasing. You are receiving. You are aligning with the frequency of abundance that has been waiting for you all along. And when you walk into the world with this state of being, you become magnetic. Doors open, synchronicities unfold, and life meets you with the same energy you radiate. The morning is not just the beginning of the day. It's the beginning of the story you are about to write. And gratitude is the pen. As the feeling of gratitude expands within you, something subtle begins to shift. The restless chatter of the mind slowly fades into the background. That endless stream of thoughts, the to-do lists, the worries, the regrets, the replaying of yesterday's conversations starts to lose its grip. This silence is not emptiness, it is power. For most of your waking life, your mind runs you. It pulls your attention from one distraction to another, like a wild horse with no reins. But in this quiet moment, when you choose stillness, you take the reins back. This is where true transformation begins, not by forcing the world to change, but by changing the frequency you inhabit within yourself. You learn to sit in the eye of the storm and remain unmoved. When you stop reacting, the mind panics at first. It tries to pull you back into its stories because it is addicted to movement, to chaos, to survival. But the more you practice this morning silence, the more the mind learns to trust it. It realizes it does not have to fight everything. It does not have to solve everything right now. Close your eyes again. Notice the space between your thoughts. Notice the stillness underneath the noise. That stillness has always been there, waiting patiently for you to return. Most people spend their mornings letting the external world decide their internal state. A single message can ruin their mood. A news headline can set the tone for the entire day. But you are different. You have chosen to master your internal landscape before the world even wakes up. Feel the weight of that decision. This is self-leadership. This is power. Now, bring your awareness to your breath. Inhale slowly through your nose, feeling the air expand your lungs. Hold for a moment, then exhale gently, allowing every ounce of tension to melt away. With each breath, imagine yourself sinking deeper into a state of calm awareness. In this space, the walls of limitation start to crumble. Your mind is no longer occupied with survival, it becomes available for creation. You start to access a level of consciousness where visualization becomes not just imagining, but experiencing your future before it arrives. Gratitude opens the heart, but stillness clears the canvas. It creates the space where new possibilities can be painted. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast, calm lake just as the sun begins to rise. The water is perfectly still, like glass. Every thought you have sends a ripple across its surface. The clearer the water, the more precisely those ripples form. This lake is your subconscious mind. Every morning you have the chance to decide what kind of ripples you will send out into the world. Most people throw rocks of fear, doubt, and frustration into their lake. They start their day by reacting to what they see, and those ripples return to them as chaos. But you are learning to stand still, to let the surface become perfectly calm. And from this place of clarity, even the smallest intention creates powerful waves. Now, bring into your awareness a future version of yourself. Not the one shaped by yesterday's limitations, but the one that lives aligned, purposeful, and free. See this version of you waking up with calm certainty. See the way they carry themselves. Feel their energy. Their gratitude is not forced, it radiates naturally. Their stillness is not empty, it is alive. This is not fantasy. This is a neurological and emotional rehearsal. When you visualize while in a grateful, coherent state, your brain begins to rewire itself as if the future you are imagining is already happening. Your body starts to align with that vision. Your emotions begin to match the frequency of the life you desire. The key is presence. You cannot reach this state while rushing through your morning, reacting to everything around you. You reach it through deliberate silence, gratitude, and focus. As you hold this vision, breathe slowly and deeply. Feel your heart expand as if it is merging with that future self. Every inhale draws that reality closer. Every exhale releases the doubts that kept you small. This is not about waiting for life to give you permission to feel whole. It is about deciding right here and now to embody that wholeness. People often underestimate the power of the morning because they underestimate the power of the mind. But everything you experience externally begins internally. When you tune your frequency deliberately, the outer world rearranges itself in response. Think of your mind like a radio tower. It is constantly sending out signals through your emotional state, and the universe reflects back whatever station you are tuned to. Gratitude tunes you to abundance. Stillness tunes you to clarity. Visualization tunes you to alignment. This is the moment when the shift happens. You are no longer a passive receiver of life's noise. You are an active broadcaster of your reality. Stay here for a few breaths longer. Let this stillness soak into your bones. Let the image of your future self become sharper, brighter, more real. Let your gratitude for this moment fill every cell. This practice may seem simple, but it is not ordinary. You are training your nervous system to trust calm over chaos. You are teaching your mind to listen to you, not the world. You are rewiring the pathways that determine how you respond to life. And as this becomes your daily ritual, something profound begins to happen. Life starts to flow differently. People respond to you differently. Challenges feel less overwhelming. Opportunities appear where before there was only noise. This is the hidden power of the morning, the ability to choose silence over reaction, clarity over confusion, creation over survival. As the vision of your future self becomes clearer, something powerful awakens inside you. The gap between who you are and who you are becoming begins to dissolve. For years, you may have believed that change required massive external effort, endless struggle, or waiting for the perfect opportunity. But the truth is, real transformation begins internally, quietly, intentionally in moments like this. Every time you choose to sit in silence and connect with gratitude, you are sending a signal into the deepest layers of your being: I am ready to change. And the mind listens, the body listens, the universe listens. You begin to realize that emotions are not just reactions, they are instructions. Every emotion you sustain communicates a message to your subconscious, shaping how you think, act, and ultimately who you become. When you repeat the same emotional patterns every morning — stress, worry, distraction — you're essentially rehearsing your old identity. But when you deliberately choose gratitude and focus, you're rehearsing the identity of your future self. Think about it. Your current personality is nothing more than a set of memorized thoughts, emotional responses, and behaviors repeated over time. If you wake up each day and feel the same way, think the same way, and behave the same way, how could life ever change? It is like replaying the same song over and over, expecting a different melody to emerge. This is where the morning practice becomes revolutionary. By deliberately stepping into elevated emotional states and holding a clear vision, you begin to rewire your personality. You stop living as a record of the past and start living as a map to the future. This process is not about pretending, it's about training your nervous system to accept gratitude as your new baseline, training your mind to prioritize stillness over chaos, training your body to feel like the future has already arrived. When you do this consistently, you break the old emotional addictions that kept you stuck. Yes, addictions. Because your body can become addicted to negative emotions just as it can to substances. It craves the familiar chemical rush of stress, frustration, or self-pity. But you have the power to starve that addiction by no longer feeding it your attention. Imagine your old emotional patterns as deeply carved grooves in the soil. For years, water, your energy, has flowed through these same grooves, forming predictable rivers of reaction. Now, every time you choose a new emotion like gratitude or calm focus, you dig a new path. At first, it's just a small stream, but with repetition, it becomes the new river. This is why 30 days of daily practice can change a life. Because you're not just thinking differently, you're becoming someone new. Picture yourself after 30 mornings like this. Your alarm rings, and instead of grabbing your phone or rushing into the day, you sit in silence, you breathe, you express gratitude not because everything is perfect, but because you've learned to anchor your state from within. You visualize your future, not as something distant, but as something you are stepping into right now. And slowly, your external world begins to match the internal blueprint. People notice something different about you. Your responses change. Your energy is calmer, clearer, stronger. Opportunities seem to find you. Obstacles feel like invitations to grow rather than reasons to panic. The power lies not in doing this once, but in making it who you are. This is how deep identity shifts happen, not through sudden bursts of motivation, but through consistent, deliberate, emotional alignment. Let's go even deeper. Every thought produces a biochemical reaction in your brain. Those chemicals are sent to your body, where they generate a feeling. That feeling then feeds back to your brain, confirming the thought. Over time, this cycle becomes automatic. This is why it can feel so difficult to break old patterns. The loop between your brain and body is fast, unconscious, and well rehearsed. But when you introduce elevated emotions like gratitude early in the morning, you interrupt the loop. Instead of your body reminding your brain of the old story, your new emotional state begins to tell your body a different story. A story of expansion, of possibility, of peace. It's like reprogramming software that has been running outdated code for years. The moment you step into gratitude, you're installing a new operating system. And here's something extraordinary: when you practice gratitude in a deeply present state, your brain does not know the difference between something you're imagining and something that's actually happening. It begins to wire new circuits as if your desired future has already occurred. This is not wishful thinking. This is neuroscience. But the mind alone is not enough. You must feel it. You must embody the emotion of the future you're creating. Words without emotion are empty. Thoughts without feeling have no magnetic power. Gratitude, on the other hand, is the emotional signature of receiving. When you feel grateful for something before it happens, you are telling your subconscious, "This is already mine." And the subconscious listens. It begins to align your behaviors, your decisions, and even your perception with that reality. Over time, your morning practice stops being something you do and becomes something you are. Gratitude becomes your home frequency. Stillness becomes your natural state. Visualization becomes your language. From this place, external noise loses its power. The opinions of others, the unpredictable events, the minor frustrations, they no longer shake you. Why? Because your internal state is no longer being controlled by the external. You've flipped the script. This is emotional sovereignty, and it's built brick by brick in quiet moments like this. Imagine walking through your day with this internal foundation. Someone cuts you off in traffic, but you don't react, you breathe. A message arrives that would have stressed you out before, but now you observe it calmly. A challenge arises at work, and instead of spiraling into anxiety, you approach it with clarity and strength. You're no longer reacting from old patterns. You're responding from your chosen state. This is why the morning is sacred, because it's the hour where you decide which version of you will lead the day, the old reactive self or the new conscious creator. There will come a moment when the practice no longer feels like effort. A shift happens deep within you. It's subtle at first, a sense that your mornings are no longer about fixing what's broken, but about expanding what's possible. Gratitude stops being a technique and starts becoming your identity. You wake up and feel different, not because everything around you has changed, but because you have changed the lens through which you view it. You've built a foundation of inner stillness that cannot be shaken by temporary noise. This is the silent power that few cultivate, and it's born from consistency. Transformation isn't a single explosion of change. It's a gradual, powerful realignment. Every morning you've chosen presence over autopilot, gratitude over chaos, vision over distraction. And brick by brick, you've constructed a new internal architecture, one that no external force can dismantle. Most people let the world decide how they will feel each day. One message, one comment, one unexpected event can pull them into emotional storms. But not you, not anymore. Because you've trained your nervous system to remain steady. You've rewired your patterns to align with intention, and you've anchored your mornings in conscious creation. The beauty of this transformation is that it compounds. The emotional baseline you create in the morning ripples into your day, shaping your interactions, decisions, and energy. People begin to feel it. Without saying a word, your presence communicates something different: calm, focus, strength, gratitude. You begin to notice opportunities that were invisible before. Because when the noise quiets, clarity emerges. When you are no longer caught in emotional survival mode, your creative faculties turn on, ideas flow, intuition sharpens. You are no longer reacting to life, you are sculpting it from within. And here's the most profound part. This isn't just about feeling good for 30 minutes in the morning. This is about changing the trajectory of your life. Every morning, as you sit in stillness and gratitude, you are instructing your subconscious to build a new identity. You're telling your brain, "This is who I am now," and the brain listens. Neural pathways reorganize, emotional signatures shift, behavioral patterns follow. Over time, the external world bends to match the internal blueprint. This is why discipline matters. Not forced discipline rooted in pressure or fear, but devoted discipline born from a vision so powerful that you refuse to go back to who you were. There will be days when you don't feel like practicing. There will be mornings when your mind tries to pull you back into old loops. That's when your commitment matters most. Because every time you show up despite resistance, you weaken the old self and strengthen the new one. Think of your morning practice as tending to a sacred fire. At first, it's small and fragile. It needs attention. it needs fuel. But over time, with consistency, it grows into a steady flame. Eventually, that flame becomes a roaring fire that lights everything around it. This is why the greatest transformation happens in silence, away from the world's gaze. Nobody applauds you when you sit quietly with your breath. Nobody celebrates your choice to visualize instead of scroll. But in those unseen moments, destinies are rewritten. Gratitude is the bridge between who you were and who you are becoming. Visualization is the language through which you communicate with the future. Stillness is the space where you meet your true self. Together, they form a morning ritual that transcends routine. It becomes a gateway. And as days turn into weeks, and weeks into months, you start to embody this truth effortlessly. You become the person who no longer waits for circumstances to change to feel elevated. You create that state from within. You'll notice it in how you respond to challenges. You'll notice it in how you speak to others. You'll notice it in the quiet confidence that starts to radiate from you. The small things that used to irritate you no longer hold power. The big things that once scared you become stepping stones. You've trained your emotional system to follow your command rather than your environment's cues. This is freedom, not external freedom, internal sovereignty, the ability to choose your state regardless of circumstance. And when you live from this state consistently, life responds in extraordinary ways. Synchronicities increase, the right people cross your path, unexpected breakthroughs unfold. This isn't magic, it's alignment. You've shifted your energy, and the external world reflects that shift. But remember, this transformation is not about perfection. It's about persistence. Some mornings will feel electric, others will feel quiet. Some visualizations will be vivid, others may feel dull. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you keep showing up. Because every time you do, you are casting a vote for your future self. This is how you build a life that doesn't just happen to you, but through you. A life where gratitude isn't a reaction, but a foundation. A life where silence isn't emptiness, but power. So tomorrow morning, when the world is still asleep and the sky is quiet, take your seat, close your eyes, breathe. Let gratitude rise through you, not as a forced thought, but as a genuine state of being. See the life you're creating with absolute clarity. Feel it in your bones. Anchor it into your nervous system. And then carry that energy into your day like a torch that cannot be extinguished. You are not just meditating, you are rewriting your identity. You are sculpting your destiny from the inside out. Do this not for one day, not for 1 week, but until it becomes as natural as breathing. Because when gratitude becomes your default, everything changes.